Oh, good morning, Shlog fans. I am running late because I was editing yesterday's Shlog, which I think is a pretty good one. Let me know what you think about yesterday's Shlog. I thought it was pretty good. And I had to run out and get parts from our local dealer because I ended up getting the shock bladder for the XR600 shock, so I'm gonna do that first thing this morning, get that knocked out and done for that customer so we can get that bike back together. And then we got lots of work to do. So I mean, tons of services. I gotta call that guy about his blown up YZ450. That's gonna be sad, I think. And then yeah, anyway, awesomeness, lots of awesomeness going on with the shop. So very thankful for all the support that everybody's given us, you guys, all the locals here. It's just really great. It just fills my heart with love, and I appreciate that. If you guys would like to also help support this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, just clicking that subscribe button is huge. It would really mean a lot to us. We're trying to get to 3,000. Well, we're trying to get to 100,000 or more, but the next milestone is to get this haircut at 3,000. So my wife is begging you guys to subscribe so that we can get this hair cut and done, because it's out of hand. So yeah, I'm on the way to work. Like I said, I'm a little bit late, but let's get on with the daily Shlog. All right, so we're at the shop, and the craziness has already ensued. Parts, mooses, more parts, lots of bikes already showing up, ATVs showing up, six-wheeler, which for my very good friend, Mr. Finnegan, I will always work on his stuff no matter how many wheels it has. But Zach is going to be putting this YZ back together, which is exciting, because the other Mr. Sheets, one Mr. Sheets, two Mr. Sheets, is going to be excited to see that thing running again. And yeah, it's like craziness. Yeah, I got to unpack at least one part for Zach here because we got a lever to put, or a perch to put on a WR250 to make the pull a little bit easier. And then I kind of forgot that this guy made an appointment for me to go through that carburetor, so that's going to happen before the Erzberg edition bike, but we're going to get that done. Then the XR shot. Anyway, stay tuned. It's going to be a heck of a day. All right, guys, time to work on the XR600 shock. As you know, if you watch the other Shlog, we got a hole in the bladder, so we got a new bladder. That makes me happy. And we got a brand new seal head to put on this, so we're gonna pop this sucker off. And as with all shocks, skinny little screwdriver, take the valving, slide it up onto there. So take our Scotch-Brite, put a crosshatch on the shaft. All right, we're going with an all balls seal head on these. Probably not the best seal head option, but it's a good one, and it's easy to deal with. I really don't have any problems with them. I know other people have, but I've had good luck with these. If you're careful on install, they seem to work and hold up just fine. A little bit of grease on the shaft. There we go. Boom, just like that. Valve stack. All in order like it's supposed to be. Red Loctite on the nut. Got a new bladder. I like to take a little bit of grease, run it around on the inside there. Helps make a nice seal on this to the reservoir first. I'm going to fill this part of the shock up, not all the way, but pretty far. Now we take this, make sure I get like just a film of the oil on this piston so it slides nice and easy as we go in. There we go. Now we add some in on top of that piston. Now we're going to bleed it. We're just going to go up. We're going to go down and back up. Nice and slow. Always watching for bubbles coming out of the oil. And this is part of the deal where you got to be patient, right? Because it takes a while for those bubbles to kind of find their way, you know, and come back up in and be where they, you know, get where they need to be and come out of the oil. So just take your time. Come up and down nice and slow, and just the bubbles will come. Valve core back in, and before I put nitrogen in it, I always hit it with air. Hit it with the air, test it, make sure it's good before I put nitrogen in it, then I can do it. But that way, in case you need to bleed it again, we're not wasting any nitrogen. Make sure the clip's in there. Put air in it. Nice. Feels great. Now, we'll let that air out. Put 150 pounds of nitrogen in it. There we go. XR shock. Rebuilt, ready to rock and roll. I like working on cool old stuff. Like, some people wouldn't even work on this thing. I'm stoked because we can still get parts for it, which is good. And yeah, they're awesome bikes. So this guy's gonna be amped because he's gonna have a fresh shock. Should work a whole lot better than it did. We took a bunch of preload out of that spring because this thing's for like 1,000-pound human. So he didn't want to buy a new spring because he's, you know, on a budget for sure. So yeah, right on, guys. Next project. All right, guys, shock's done. Time to work on the Erzberg Rodeo Edition KTM. Gonna start by putting a Rekluse in it. And yes, it's laying on the ground. That's on purpose. It makes this way easier. And since the oil is brand new still, there's no reason to drain it out. So what you do is you lay it down on the side just like that. Handlebars on a stand, so it's not actually laying on the ground. And then we're going to take it apart and take a look at what this Rekluse looks like. Shlog fans, you guys are going to get to see the highlights. I'm going to do an in-depth video of this, so make sure you stay tuned if you want to watch the whole thing. Let's take a look at what we got. It's a, like I said, it's a Rekluse Radius CX, which is their highest end model. Obviously comes with a nice aluminum Rekluse clutch cover. And the workhorse of the situation. That is actually what does all the real work on the Rekluse. This thing has 6 miles of him riding it around his block back in Texas. So it is brand spanking new. So yeah, let's take the thing apart and see what's inside. All right, so this is a DDS clutch, diaphragm damper spring clutch. So there's no individual springs around these bolts like on a normal clutch. This whole piece right here is a spring. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. This ring is the ring that pushes down and pushes pressure on this spring. I don't know if you guys can see, but that spring, it's cupped. It's, you know, cupped up like this. So that's what pushes pressure down on, this is the pressure plate to hold tension on the clutch. It's pretty cool. But here's a little, maybe, I don't know if it's little known, but here's a fact. This is the way Harleys do clutches. And honestly, generally, I try to avoid anything that Harley ever does. So I'm not 100% sure it's my favorite clutch design because Harley does it, but it seems to work okay for KTM. Let me show you guys what it's got going on over here. These trays are awesome. They've got rounded edges, so it's easy to like scoop things up and out. And you can organize things how they go. It's really handy. I'll put a link in the description for those things. I buy them from my Matco guy, but they're not made by Matco. So, all right, so there's the inner hub. Here's the thing you gotta do. You gotta take this inner piece out like that. And you gotta get these little rubber dampers out and put them into the new Rekluse inner hub. When I do this on an older bike that's got miles and hours on it, I usually just replace these, but since this thing is brand new, I'm just going to use these ones and put them in. All right, so that part of the Rekluse is done. Now we gotta get it up on the lift and put the new slave cylinder on there, because that's actually how the Rekluse does what it needs to do. Is that with the new slave cylinder, you can open up the pressure plate just a little bit and disengage the clutch, so that when the RPMs of the motor come up, that expanding ring expands and hooks up. I've got another video explaining Rekluses a little bit more in depth. I'll put a card right up here if you guys want to see that. So you can check that out. It really goes into in depth into how exactly they do what they do. So yeah, go ahead and get that thing up here on the lift and put the slave cylinder on. I'm getting ready to put the slave cylinder on this Erzberg Edition 300, but like I said yesterday, let's talk about what is different about this bike versus the normal 2020 300 TPI. To start, obviously the graphics and plastics are different. Got super duper cool graphics. I think they're great. So honestly, when I first saw a picture of these things, I really didn't like the way they looked, I mean, brutally honest. But here in person, it looks great. I don't know what you guys think. Comment below what you think about the graphics. I think they look great. So the biggest differences, most noticeable right away, are you get billet triple clamps with the W model, which normally you have to either get the XC or SX to get. So that's pretty cool. And that's really an upgrade. Not just bling. Billet triple clamps are really nice, and yeah, I like them a lot. Definitely different color, wheels and stuff like that, but that's not that big a deal. But you get guards. Pretty sure this is just an Acerbis front disc guard. It says KTM on it, but I'm 99.9% sure that's made by Acerbis. You get a cool guy slave cylinder guard, which we are going to remove. I had to put this Rekluse on, but whatever. You get it. You get a small but effective and pretty burly plastic skid plate. I like that a lot. It's actually really thick and nice. You get the super sprocks rear sprocket, so steel outside, aluminum inside, so that's going to hold up really, really well. You get a rear disc guard. It's the KTM one. It's not as nice as the ones that are solid piece here, but it is really nice, and the way it mates up is super strong. So that's definitely a nice upgrade. You get the rear and front tugger, and probably one of the next biggest things, honestly, is this fan. You get a fan stock, and if you're going to go do hard enduro like Erzberg, the fan is really, really important. So far, that's really all I can tell. I'm pretty sure the suspension is the same, the valving and everything. I don't know. I haven't actually taken one apart, but I'm pretty sure that's all the same. So yeah, there you go. There's the main upgrades you get with the Erzberg Edition. Yeah, it's a really nice bike. I think it's a really, really, really good bike. I haven't ridden it yet. I'm going to definitely get a chance to feel the throttle response and all that when I get done putting this Rekluse on. So I'm going to eat my lunch and then get that slave cylinder on there, and we'll move forward. Look at that, everybody. Shiny, happy head. Zach's putting onto that. Pretty. Very excited for Mr. Sheets. He's going to be stoked to get his motorcycle back, and it's going to be all fresh and new. All right, so now slave cylinder time, and this is interesting because this is one of the things you get with your Erzberg rodeo bike is a slave cylinder guard that we're now going to take off and remove because you can't have this kind of guard on there with the Rekluse slave. All right, so when I'm doing this, I like to break this loose before I undo the rest of this, because if you take that slave cylinder off now and then you're trying to break this loose, it's a giant pain. So we'll take that loose now. That's an interesting problem that I'm running into, is that this bolt's too long because it was originally holding a guard on. So now we got to get a shorter one of these. All right, so now we got to bleed this thing. Fortunately, it is a Brembo and it takes .4. So got a normal bleed syringe, and I'll making a giant mess right now, but there we go. There we go. Now I can actually works good just sitting in there. It's all uphill, so that's good. So now let's drop this thing down. Let's see what we get out. There we go. Now we're going to start her up. And I actually leave the cap off of this when I start it up here, because the vibration will help any more bubbles come out while we're waiting. See, there's one right there. We're going to check for the free play gain, and what that is when we rev the motor with a little bit of pressure on the clutch lever, when we rev the motor, it should move in between a 1/16 and an 1/18 of an inch. So actually that feels pretty good. Now Rekluse gives you a little rubber band to put around that, and that's all well and good, but I've done this enough times that I know how it's supposed to feel and how much pressure I need to put on it. So now we're going to go take it for a test ride. All right, so now we got the bike, we got the adjustment set for the free play gain. Now we want to check and make sure it's not going to go anywhere when we put it in gear. Feels pretty good. Always a weird feeling not having to use a clutch. So now they want us to break it in. We're going to put it in second, start from a stop, roll up to like 3/4 throttle, come back down to a stop, roll up 3/4 throttle, come back down to a stop, do that 20 times. Then we're going to put it in third, do that 20 times, and then we're going to check the free play gain and adjustment again, and then we're going to be good. Should be ready to rock and roll. So put her in second. Alright, the last thing we got to do today to the 300 is silencer. So this is the stock one. We're gonna take it off, and well, we've already taken it off, but we're gonna put a spark arrestor silencer on it. I kind of don't know why they don't just come with one, honestly, especially this special fancy edition, especially considering how much they cost and how most people who are going to use it are not going to use it on a closed course. Seems like it ought to come with a spark arrestor, but whatever, it doesn't. That's okay. They're not too terribly expensive. So we got an FMF turbine core 2 to put on it, and you can see they don't come with the grommets in it, so we got to put the grommets in it, and then we'll slide her on and we'll be good to go. Look at that FMF. a nice flat spot. The 300 is all done, ready to go. Customer's on his way. And yeah, this thing's pretty sweet. Pretty excited about it. He's a friend, so I'm sure I'm gonna get to ride it some actually off-road, but it feels good just going down the road. Good throttle response, nice and smooth, like all the new KTMs. So yeah, I guess time will tell how good it is, but I'm excited. That was a lot of fun to work on. Now I gotta figure out what's next. There's lots. All right, day's winding down, but I got just enough time to change a moose real fast to get that thing done here. Really not changing a moose, but putting a moose and tire onto a brand new rim. So get that done here, and then probably at the end of the day we'll push things in. Go. Another customer with a moose that's not going to get a flat, so that's awesome. The bummer is right now I can't get more mooses. They're back ordered and it's driving me nuts. So I hope they get that sorted out real soon, because I got people breathing down my neck for mooses. Yeah, hopefully they start showing up here real soon, and we'll get more of that done. It's getting really close to the end of the day. I think I'm gonna start pushing stuff in. Hit you guys with the outro here in just a bit. Oh man, another awesome day here at the shop, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are slammed busy. A whole bunch of those four-wheeled rigs showed up, and man, they snuck in here. They're just good people. They're friends of mine. They need work done. I'm soft, so I'm definitely gonna work on them and take good care of them, because they're awesome folks and they need their machines working, and they don't trust anybody but me. So there we go. But yeah, man, we got a ton of work. We got 2 WRs that need servicing. Zach is almost done with the YZ450. The top end was blown up, and we got that almost done. I was given the YZ450 with the locked up bottom end. Woohoo! So I got a whole bunch of YZ450 parts. So that makes me happy. Might take the front end off of that and put it onto the YZ125 for my kid, because it's got a little bit better forks on it. So anyway, that's awesome. I'll have wheels and all kinds of things, so that's super cool. Yeah, guys, it's springtime and I'm stoked. Things are awesome. We got, like, it's whatever. It's so much work to do. Oh, it's awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you think what we're doing is awesome and great and is helpful, then please hit the subscribe button. It does mean a lot. And like I said, we're trying to grow this channel. When we hit 3,000 subscribers, I cut this hair. So get it done. My wife is dying for you guys to get this done so I can cut my hair. Also, when we hit 5,000 subscribers, we're going to be blowing up a YZ250. So stay tuned for that. I got a ton of awesome things coming. I'm going to work on editing the full Rekluse video for you guys here soon, so I'll try to get that out here in this next week. Show you how we install those things and what we do. Yeah, I love you guys so much. Get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and please, you seriously have to find some time to ride your dirt bikes!